Hi, everyone. We are Project Hypnos. We have been exploring virtual reality filmmaking for this semester. I'm Chuck. I'm the co-producer and the research designer.
I'm Amy, sound designer and writer.
I'm Joel, the co-producer and production designer.
I'm Jay, I'm film director.
I'm Jack, I'm technical director. I'm Eric, programmer.
And we have fantastic, terrific, wonderful, extremely amazing advisors, Ralph and Brenda. So we started this project with three main goals: pipeline, research, and proof of concept. Since this is the first time that EDC has ever worked on 360 film for virtual reality, we have created a pipeline to stage and composite it, from raw footage to post-production, from stitching, color correcting, CG compositing to final output. So during the first half of the semester, we create demos testing different techniques in 360 film. See what works, what doesn't for head-mounted display. And we also document our filmmaking process on Visual Story Wiki so that future students can make film using the techniques we have discovered. And now we want to show you some clips from our proof of concept film. But one thing we want you to know, this is not a complete immersive experience unless you do it in head-mounted display.
Happy birthday to you.
What happened to Sam is a tragedy, but it's time to face the facts.
You know, I've heard this before. You know, the doctors are saying that statistically it might take a little bit more time.
Statistically, that's
for
what they
somebody
say
his age,
when they don't want to disappoint you. I mean, let's face it, there's nothing in there.
I mean, I'm not the only one who feels this way.
This party's a joke. I'm gonna get a beer.
Julie, you watch Sam for a little bit. I'll be right back. I'll just be right back. Jake, Jake. What are you doing? I did not invite you over here to get
It is time for you to face the facts.
What facts?
Okay, so you are more than welcome to come to our project room to experience the real feeling of our film. So we use what we learned and our research to design the proof of concept film, and we distribute it to the professional industry. We got some constructive feedback, and we use those feedbacks to improve our final cut. And also, 2 days ago, we had a playtest on main campus because we want to see how general public feel about our film. Fortunately, all playtesters feel immersed and use emotional language to describe our film. And next, we will talk about the challenge we have been through this semester.
So we faced many challenges in trying to meet our goals, as you can see. First, we are going to discuss the challenge of storytelling. So as far as we have seen, there really isn't anybody currently tackling the challenge of telling full stories in this medium. And there are a few things that are unique to this medium. For one thing, you're able to tell the story from a first-person perspective. However, the viewer cannot interact in this space. As a result, we chose to tell the story from the perspective of a severely disabled person who has no agency in their environment. Then we explore their inner world, their thoughts and dreams. In addition, because viewers can look around the space, they need time to explore and can potentially miss plot points if this isn't planned for. As a result, pacing of the story has to be slower and dialogue has to be on occasion more overt, and this way the viewer has the best experience. Just like traditional 2D medium, we have to guide the viewer's eye around. We do this by using 3D surround sound and movement of actors and objects in the space. In addition, we guide the viewer's focus by juxtaposing moments where there is a singular point of focus and moments where there are 2 or more points of focus in order to create a varied, more engaging experience.
So definitely one of our major challenges of this project was to try to conceptualize what it's like to actually go inside of somebody's mind and somebody's dreams. Of course, how do you represent that visually? So one thing that we did was look at a lot of surrealist art. They've done a very good job through history of conceptualizing some of these thoughts and feelings. And then we tried to aim for a particular mood. So we tried to elicit a certain feeling from the viewer from our visual style that we kind of generated from some of that research. We also made wide use of symbolism in our story to try to cover some of the concepts that we couldn't necessarily cover in the dialogue. One symbol that you see as a recurring motif is the butterfly. It's there to represent the mind of the protagonist. And it's first trapped inside of a jar, and then later on in the story, it finally finds its way out, kind of representing that freedom that the viewer finds inside of their own mind as Sam. We also use the tree as a symbol as well. That's symbolic of the mind and the heart, and how it's essentially an oasis in the middle of your wasteland of your body. It's this last little patch of life essentially. And then the lighthouse being a beacon of hope, kind of guiding you back.
Okay, so how can you film in 360 space? There were several issues that I didn't expect in 2D traditional film. So as a director, I needed to direct actor and actress in the scene, but because we used a 360 angle, I didn't have space to hide myself. So as a solution, we hid a cell phone in the set, and through the FaceTime, we could watch the scene. And also, we did rehearsals more than usual, so we could check their acting and their movement before the shoot. And because GoPros have lower quality, we need plenty of lights in the scene. So as I mentioned before, we didn't have space to hide our lighting equipment, so we used the lights that looks like a part of the scene, such as lamps. And also we struggle with removing tripod from the footage, so that's why we built Hypnos, which is our main character, Sam. Because our story was from a first-person perspective, Hypnos became like a human body in the film. And we think it pretty worked well with our film, with our story.
So the stitching is always the main issue for our project. No matter how good the content is, if you see the stitching line in the film, the immersive experience will be hurt very much. So we try to get rid of this problem as best as we can. In order to solve this problem, we have to limit the movement of actor once we decide the direction of camera. But sometimes they still need to cross the camera for their performance. So we use the mask in stitching software and fix this problem frame by frame. Before filming, we have to consider the location if there are many special features for easy stitching. But just like the picture you see on the screen, there are very few features in the dark scene of the dance sequence. So how can we fix it? Our solution is we use the template from the previous stitch so that we can know how to warp the video to connect with each other. Then we apply this template, this scene, and we will get the result. The third challenge is the stitching result is always changed from a different distance. But if we want to get the perfect panoramic film, how can we merge them? So our solution is we use After Effects to mask and keep the best part from each video to compose them to the final result.
Before Soft, we make a Unity application for each demos. But Unity is difficult to work with because it's time-consuming video converting process and bad video playback. So we decided to move away from Unity. Instead, we can utilize some professional VR players on each platform to get a much better video playback and then refine our pipeline. Without the trouble caused by Unity and with the help of professional VR player on each platform, we can distribute our film on different platforms effortlessly. Recently, Samsung Make VR have requested us to distribute our film on their site, where the audience can watch our film easily on Gear VR. Also, we are planning to submit our film to different festivals and conferences.
So we'd just like to say thank you to everybody that helped make this film possible, as well as the whole project, and everybody listed behind you. We are Project Hypnos. We have developed a 360-degree film pipeline. We have researched viewer experience in VR, and we have produced a short proof of concept film. We would be more than happy to answer any questions at this time. Yes, Jesse.
Do you guys have a guess when this medium starts to come into the mainstream about what is the right length for a VR film? Are we talking 30 minutes and 60 minutes like television, 90 minutes like movies, short films? What do you think is going to be the most, 5 years from now, say, what do you think is going to be the most common length for a movie?
So the question was, what do we feel is going to be the most common length for movies in the future of this type? We found that 10 minutes is probably right to about that limit. We're right at about 9.5 right now. Part of the problem is that the comfort of the headsets at this point. Essentially, you have a very small, very bright screen just inches away from your eyeball, and inevitably, after a prolonged period of viewing like that, it's definitely going to cause some sort of fatigue. So until the technology either gets a little bit better, we're probably going to be limited in that way. But who knows what the future is going to hold? So maybe that limitation will allow us to make even longer films. Really, nobody knows at this point, though. Yes, Chris?
So you came up with this interesting, elegant solution for a point of view in your film, right? Obviously, having every film central character be someone who can't really communicate or move isn't really a long-term solution. Do you have any ideas after you've done this, what else might work?
Yes, so the question is, we came up with a solution to some of the current limitations about a viewer being unable to interact, but how do we deal with this in the future? My thought is, personally, we get a lot of people that would watch in our early playtests, and they would ask us, who am I? What is my role? What am I doing? And we found that people could not disengage and just watch something happen in this immersive experience. So my thought is, as the medium becomes more common, people will be able to engage with it, and you will be able to tell a broader range of stories. I liken it to when 2D film first began, and you had people running the myth, possibly a myth, but people leaving the theater because they think trains are coming towards them, and early films. So people are not quite yet engaging with the film as they will in the future. That said, I think also the ability to interact will increase, and people will either begin to accept that this is a viewing experience, not an interactive experience, or we will be able to give them the ability to interact, and then we will progress the medium even further.
I realize it's difficult in creative situations for everybody to merge their ideas together. So can you just give me a feel for how complete you think this is? Or if you were to go back and change things as a team, what would you wish you had a little more time to do?
Yeah, so the question was how far are we into it and what would we like to change if we had the time? Is that correct?
Sure.
So, like on terms of actual completion, we're actually right where we want it to be. We have a couple little tweaks before we actually plan on releasing it, but I'd say 98% of the film is done at this point. If we had more time, we definitely wanted to push the CG sequence a little bit further. We wanted a more complex particle simulation, things like that. Of course, that takes quite a bit more time. And I think that if we were to go and even reshoot, we could even do some things a little bit better to even push a little bit further on that interaction. We felt as though we did a good job, but you could always improve in that way.
Time for one more.
So one of the big challenges that you guys faced was for live action shooting, figuring out how to hide, tripods and whatnot. What do you think this medium has in store for, say, the realm of animation and formats in which those kind of challenges aren't necessarily relevant?
So the question is, where do we see this medium going in regards to animation? Your options are limitless, essentially. Like you have full freedom to look around, especially in a digital space. In a way that you never have been, able to before. It's just subject to the mind of the person that's creating it, essentially. It's really a fantastic medium, especially for CG. Just because you don't have any of those limits.
Thanks, team.
Thank you, guys.